everyone. Hello. Hi. We are the Jgirls. And once again, you are here listening to our broadcast, RWJ Couch Chat. We have another excellent, a personal person as our guest today. She's going to introduce herself and I will tell you why we are personal person. Well, anyway, we'll see. All right. Now we are back and we are going to introduce our guest to you. I guess, can you tell us who you are and tell the audience who you are?
My name is Helen Isioma Uzoka. I'm a preschool teacher based in Lagos, Nigeria.
So, girls, what do you think is similar between me and this lady today? You knew! We're the Helen. We are the Helen. Helen means most of us are from Nigeria. Helen means light. She's my name, and we're in class together in the university. Check that out. We also studied the same subject. Most of us studied geography. And so this is a special guest all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. So I hope you are prepared to ask her a lot of questions. Yeah, don't ask her personal questions.
So many.
Go ahead, just ask away.
Okay, so that is getting to know you is the program, and the aim of the program is for us to get to know you, how you grew up, the rules you grew up with, and to inspire the kids, and one or two advices for the kids out there to look up to, because we are the adults they are looking up to, the role models. So normally we start with questions, and little J, fire away your first question.
So tell us about yourself.
Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so this is where I'm supposed to tell you that I'm a mother of 2 young daughters. I'm a preschool teacher. My life basically revolves around my work, and I'm not somebody who likes to go out a lot. I'm not very extroverted. I prefer to stay indoors. So I enjoy reading. I enjoy watching good movies. I enjoy being with my children. I enjoy cooking, and like I said, I'm a teacher, and I just try to take things easy, take life as it comes. Yeah, that's who I am. That's what I like to do.
Please, you just described me and the girls are laughing. You practically described me, and I said,
So that's why we were friends in school, because we were very similar in school.
So, you see, that's why maybe this is how Helens are. So we need to find out another 2 or 3 Helens and see whether we are all introverts and we sit down in the house and we just watch movies and we just cook.
Well, you make so many sources that there's barely anything left. There's barely any space left in the freezer.
She said there's barely any space left in the freezer. She said I normally stuff things in the freezer. There's barely any space left.
You have to take
Also, you cook a lot as well.
you put in and put that thing.
Okay, don't expose me now. What's that? Anyway, okay, so good. She's told us she's a teacher. She told us she had 2 beautiful kids. I've seen one of her kids, and she's a teacher, and she's the best person to tell us about growing up. So, any other question you want to ask her?
What's your favorite food?
What's your favorite food?
I hope it's right.
Funny enough, someone asked me that question recently. My favorite food is something very native, which I'm not sure you know about. It's called fufu. Fufu and leaf soup. Yes. Do you get to see fufu in Scotland?
No, I really didn't like it, but I know you liked it when we. No, this one is made out of cassava. I really didn't like it.
Fermented cassava. Yes.
Fermented cassava.
So
It's lovely to eat.
No, it's the same thing. It's made from something from Gary too. It's the same same product from. It's the same root product from cassava, Gary and fufu. But the difference is they ferment this one and make it into porridge. It comes out like pounded yam. It comes out exactly like pounded yam. It's white like pounded, whiter like snow. than pounded.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
people from where she comes from, Delta, I guess, they like fufu a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
Or they do the yellow one or the white one. Yeah.
The yellow one is called starch. That's from I'll say Ishekiri part of Delta. From my part, we eat the white one, and
Yeah.
it's really nice. I like to pair it with a soup we call it bitter leaf soup. Bitter leaf soup is made from palm fruit. Then you put so many things like beef and fish, and it's really lovely. So
Yeah,
that's my favorite food.
when
That's
I
what
was
I
growing
like to eat.
when I was growing up, I hated bitter leaf until I learned the concept that it is bitter at the beginning, but towards the end, it
At
leaves
the end, yes,
yeah,
it has a lovely sweet
I
taste.
mean, that leaf taught us about life, because life is sometimes bitter.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you don't expect life to be all sweet, and if you expect life to be
No,
all sweet, you are living in fairyland. So sometimes life
exactly.
comes bitterly, but ends up with a
Mhm.
sweet taste. So
Yes.
that's interesting. Now you know our best food. What else?
What is your least?
Least favorite. That's our best question. What's your least favorite food?
Oh, my least favorite food. I don't like rice. I don't like rice. Especially white rice. Is that your best food?
That's our best food. So
People keep saying that to me. Like, how can you not like rice? I don't like rice, especially white rice. I can manage jollof rice. I can manage fried rice.
Yeah.
But white rice, no, I don't really like it. It's not like I don't eat it. I eat it once in a while when I have to.
Yeah.
But on the whole, if I were presented with like 5 different meals and rice was one of them, that would be my least favorite to pick.
I like fried rice too.
I don't
I
like
like
rice.
life in all its variations. And so this is my own
Wow.
question. What is the
Wow.
music and the movies you like?
That's mom's favorite.
That's my most
Oh,
favorite.
well, I like movies that have a good storyline. I like movies that get you thinking. I like thrillers. So let me give you some examples of my best movies of all time. I like The Godfather. It's a mafia movie about man who was the head of a family and was trying to steer the family in the way he felt was the right way.
Yeah.
Now, the mafia sometimes have questionable things that they do, but he had some very good traits. He was a very loyal provider. He was a protector of his family, and he was just all around. He had some sound principles about him. So I really love The Godfather. I love The Sound of Music. I recently was watching the beginning part of The Sound of Music. I love The Gladiator. That's a movie with Russell Crowe about a person who was a slave who later became a warrior and defied an empire. Yeah, so those are some of the movies I like. For music, I like worship on my drive to work with my children. Yeah, so that's what I really like to listen to. Once in a while, yes, I do the bubbly dance and everything, but I think on average, what I really like to listen to is worship.
So what's your favorite novel?
So I really, really like The Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. And you have so many similarities. This is really weird.
I remember
you
when
sure?
I used to read Francis Rivers, and then after reading all the Francis Rivers, I went into Janet Oke. Janet Oke is
That's
another
another
writer.
good author.
Janet Oke.
Okay.
OKE. Yeah.
Oh.
And then When Calls the Heart, Hallmark is based on a book. So, oh gosh, another similarity.
I like the Mark of the Lion series by Francine Rivers as well.
Okay.
I really like that one.
Okay, so we have another similarity. All right, so Issy, I've come to know you more now. On this show, you are Auntie Issy. So when they're talking to you, it's Auntie Issy. So you told us a lot about yourself. Now we are going into the nitty-gritty. Big J, can you ask Auntie a question?
What are the houses you grew up?
What are
What
the
type of house?
houses?
Grew up in a very small, well, let me not say so small, because I know people who grew up in smaller. I grew up in a 3-bedroom flat with my 6 siblings and my father. So there were 8 of us living in a 3-bedroom flat. We basically had 1 bathroom and 1 toilet. So it was really awkward growing up. And we had some aunties who stayed with us in the beginning years of our lives, and until we grew up and then those aunties left. So yeah, it was not a lot of space, I have three sisters, so the four girls used one room. We called it the girls' room. Then I have three brothers, so my three brothers used one room. We also called that the boys' room. And then we had daddy's room, and that's it basically. It was supposed to be two toilets and one bathroom, but the other toilet wasn't functional. So it was basically one toilet, one bathroom to 8 people. However, as children, we had neighbors. We like at this time of the day when you're back from school and you've done your homework, you find us in the compound, in the close, just playing, climbing trees and things like that. So it was not all bad, really. There were some good parts about living in the kind of place I grew up in. The name of the place I grew up in is Festa. It still exists till today. We just moved out.
Notorious Festac.
Festa. Yeah, a lot of things come out of Festa.
A lot of
But
things come out of Festac.
I would say it was more good than bad, actually. And as a child, I didn't see the lack of space as a problem, really. I felt we were fortunate because we went to a very good school. We went to church that wasn't far from our home. We were fine, really. We were doing very fine,
So what are the rules you grew up with, growing up with your dad? And what happened to your mom, by the way?
Okay, so I lost my mom when I was 3 years old. She died from complications from a surgery she had to have my younger one. So I didn't know my mom. I barely knew her. I was too young to remember anything about her. All I have is the stories that people tell. I don't know so much about her. So that's why I didn't mention my mom. Yeah. And then what sort of rules did I grow up with? My father was he wasn't too liberal. His one rule, I would say, was a rule of transparency and integrity and education. He valued education. So even when it was just him as a single parent raising all of us, he insisted that we all went to good schools and we all graduated so that we could have a leverage to build upon for our future. He was a single father raising 7 children by himself. It truly wasn't easy for him, but he did his best. He died not too long ago, so I miss him. I'm an orphan now. However, one of his rules, like I said, was transparency. He believed that, let me see you for who you are and you see me for who I am. He wasn't very liberal per se, but he preferred that our friends came home so that he could know who they were. He was very, very concerned and interested in who we hung out with. He didn't want us being with people who did bad things, so it was important that he knew who our friends were. So where other parents were saying to their children, don't bring your friends home, come back and sit down and do your homework, my father would say, yes, come back home, do your homework, but let your friend come into the house. I want to know the sort of person they are so that I'm sure that you are being with the right circle of friends, because the people who are your friends influence your behavior, your thought process. They influence everything about your life, especially from an early age. I'm now a mother of 2 young daughters, and I'm very particular about the kinds of people that they say are their friends. When I notice a person who tells lies very easily, and has some warped ideas about life, I try to make my children steer clear from such a person, because I'm also trying to teach my children not to tell lies. I want them to be people who tell the truth, no matter what it costs them. So if you're going with friends who tell lies easily, then it's very likely that you won't see any big deal about lying. And then you see, lying is really, really dangerous, very, very dangerous. So I'm trying to follow in my dad's footsteps, basically by being very interested in the sort of people my children hang out with. So that was one of his rules. He also had the rule of he valued education, going to school. All my brothers and sisters, despite the little my father had, we all went to federal schools, secondary schools. Your mommy would know what a federal secondary school means. You may not know what that means. Those schools they were called the unity schools, and they were the schools that were supposed to be the most affordable and
Best instead of
the best schools in that time of when we were all in secondary school. So all my brothers and sisters went to secondary schools, and we were all boarders.
Yeah.
Boarders means we went to the boarding school.
Yeah.
You learn independence, you learn to look after yourself, you learn to empathize with other people, because you meet people from various spheres of life, people who have different ideologies, people who come from different religions. A different religion is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
For instance, one of my older daughter's best friends right now is a Muslim, and I've studied that child, right? Let's put religion aside. She's a child who doesn't lie. She's not negatively competitive. She loves my daughter, and my daughter likes her a lot. They've been friends since they were in nursery. Her parents have sound values. Yes, they are Muslims, but she won't steal. She won't take something that doesn't belong to her. When she sees you in the morning, she's never reminded to greet. She's polite. She's very mature. In fact, she helps my younger daughter with her homework most days when I have to go in for a meeting while at school. So I've studied her from when she was a young girl in nursery, and I felt she's a good girl. I'd like my daughter to continue being friends with her. Incidentally, they've not been in the same class since nursery, but somehow this child usually finds her way to my daughter's class. She comes to my class in the afternoon to do homework when school is over, but the school bus hasn't taken her home. So it's important, because our daddy made us understand that don't go with people who want to do drugs, who don't see anything wrong with testing limits and trying out things that they know will hurt or harm their bodies. He always discouraged that, always did. And so I'm trying to do the same thing. And when I say hurt and harm your body, I'm not even only speaking about drugs, substances. I'm also speaking about overeating. I hope you know that overeating is another way of hurting your body. Just before our chat started, my older daughter asked me for a lollipop, and I said, you know what, dinner will be ready soon. No, you've had something sweet already today. So we try to balance it out, because if I keep giving her the sweet stuff and overloading her, she becomes unhealthy, she becomes heavy, she can't move or be physically active as she would love to, and it can cause all sorts of issues even later on in life. It sounded like I was being mean when I said no. I didn't explain it to her like this, but I know in her little mind, she knows the reason why I didn't give her the lollipop. She knows her mother loves her.
But Issy, one of the things that we are trying to do is that when we were growing up, when they tell us no, our parents don't even explain to us
why. Explain, they never did.
Now we are trying to raise them up that when they say no, you give them constructive reasons why it has to be no. Sometimes when I'm pissed off, I don't bother telling them the reason. But other times I have to tell her, you can't have this because it is this and that. And you hear, why?
Exactly. So, in those days, if you did something wrong, somebody who wasn't even your parents could scold you.
Yeah.
They could even smack you. And you would even be afraid of that person reporting you to your own parents.
Yeah.
Because your parents will say, you went to disgrace me. You went to shame me. They will smack you some more. On top of what that person has done, right? But now you can't do that.
Yeah.
Now you can't even tell a parent, why don't you try this? You can't even make suggestions to people.
Yeah.
My husband told me early on in our marriage that you can't tell anybody how to raise their child. You can't. In those days, it wasn't so, because we were raised by a village.
Yeah.
Your neighbor, Mama Sikira, your neighbor, Baba, okay. They were all your parents. Do something wrong, they would smack, and you would even be praying that they don't tell your daddy or mommy, because if they tell them, bigger trouble for you.
Yeah.
Those days when we went to school, if you came late to school for any reason, even if it wasn't your fault, you would pick litter over the school.
Cut grass.
You will cut grass. In some really extreme situations, you will kneel and crawl to your class from the school gate. So, you see, now I'm never late to work.
You see, it's all those things they call it child abuse now. So, child labor, child abuse. You can't do them anymore.
But you see, from our generation,
Yeah.
those who allowed that training to enter them, you will hardly see someone from our generation going late to work. They say work resumes at 9. We're at work by 8. Because you started out learning that if you got to school late, you would serve punishment, all sorts of punishment, different things. Some would really flog children, and I don't support that anymore. When you are armed with that sort of training, you take life seriously.
Yeah.
When we were in UI, nobody was telling us, "Oh, wake up and go to class." Did we used to miss our 8 o'clock classes?
No. Put the class at 7 o'clock, sir. We are still there.
7 o'clock, we're there.
Yeah.
Even when I was living outside the school campus,
I
was
remember
never
when
late
we
to
used to
class.
line up when we have bigger classes and we have to line up class.
You
I
go
have
in.
to sit in front. That front I don't play with.
Because I didn't want distraction. I'm still
Exactly.
like that till today. I don't want to be looking at anything around me. I want to be taking the teacher, the lecturer.
When I'm talking to them about being distracted, they don't understand the concept that we grew up not wanting to see anybody apart from me and the teacher. So
When you sit at the back, that's when somebody with red hair will come and stay in between you and the lecturer. Then somebody with a hat that came from, I don't know, will be there. Then somebody who is probably putting on their phone is there. And you're looking at all these people instead of looking at your lecturer, your teacher.
yeah.
You may have as well missed that class, you know,
you see the
stay
importance.
somewhere to play.
What
Rather
is-
than go there and allow different things distract you.
That is
You know,
why
so
exercises on distraction is so important, because if you don't deal with it now, it gets worse. Deal with distraction now and focus on what you're meant to do. By the time you get to a level and you go to the university, nobody can distract you. You've already learned the discipline of concentration. And that's why teachers that shout about organization and concentrating, they know exactly what they're saying. They might not deal with you the way we were dealt with, but they are still saying the same thing.
we were taught to be very respectful, and that is something that I have not stopped. I refuse to stop because of the peculiarity of our country. We often need nannies.
Yeah.
So I have one living with me. She's been with me 5 years. It's like a miracle because most people get one and most times they don't stay for long.
Yeah.
So I'm not boasting. She's not perfect. I am also not perfect, but somehow it has worked for me. Now my children are very respectful towards their nanny. They don't speak to her disrespectfully. They don't even when I'm not there, they know I discourage it. But on the other hand, now what I see is a lot of children who say all sorts to nannies, tell lies on nannies, and do all sorts of things to them because they know that, you know, daddy and mommy will scold them in their presence and stuff like that. So you see, the problem with that is you're teaching your child how to be rude. Right now, that child is being rude to the nanny. That child eventually will go out there and be rude to the teacher. And before you know it, they are rude to their boss at work. They can't hold down a job because at the time when they were supposed to be taught respect and courteousness, they were not. So in those days, they emphasized greeting. Growing up, you had to greet. If you were even Yoruba, you had to lie down on the floor to greet, kneel down to greet. Children these days just pass by you and say nothing, and we are almost making it look like it is normal. I'm very old school in my ways, though. I'm very particular about these things. People keep telling me the way you were raised, you can't raise your children now. So I've made some modifications, yes. However, basics are the basics. You dare not pass by somebody and not say good morning, good evening, good afternoon. No. People may wonder, in 10 years from now, will that be relevant in the world? Or maybe it's irrelevant, but at least you've learned that everybody deserves a modicum of respect from you, be it young or old. I greet people younger than I am. I greet people in lower status, like the janitors in school. I greet them nicely. Ask them, how is your family? How are you doing today? How is your work? And my children see me do this. So even when I'm not there, they do their best to do likewise. Okay, so it was very important. That Muslim girl I told you is my daughter's friend. If I was carrying my bag and coming into school and she saw me in 2021, she would rush to me to come and take one bag and help me. That's something we were taught as children. When daddy is coming back from work, mommy is coming back from the market, you run to them, pick what they are carrying and help them carry those things. That's empathy. You're showing them that you appreciate them, that they've gone out to work hard and come back to share the fruit of what they've worked hard for with you. It's a way of saying thank you. We didn't understand why we were doing this. We thought it was just respect. Okay.
So now you've talked about, in fact, you've answered the next question. But just as a summary, how has those house rules, how have they influenced you? Because basically that's what you've been saying. But just in a nutshell, as an adult in your career, every day.
As an adult now, starting from when I was in university, like we said, I never used to miss class. I didn't need anyone to wake me to go early to school. I used to walk from my hostel to school. There was a time I lived with your mom. I never went late to class. So now, as an adult, I don't go late to school. This morning, my younger daughter wasn't feeling well yesterday, so we had to go to the hospital. And in spite of going to the hospital so early in the morning, I still got to school this morning before 7 a.m. And my supervisor somehow noticed when I came and was like, oh, you're here a little later than usual. I usually get to school around 6:30 in the morning. I'm supposed to get to school for 7. I get to school around past 6:30 at the very latest. And I don't live so close to my home. You see, going to school every day, being punctual, being dependable, because I believe I'm supposed to be there before my children come in. They should meet me. They should see me welcome them every morning to school. What my father taught me as a child is impacting what I'm doing now as an adult, as a mother, as a teacher, as a wife, because I put a lot of thought into the things. I'm intentional about the things I do, from my lesson planning to lesson execution. I want excellence to be written all over everything I do. I have a social media presence. I am not very overactive, but I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Sometimes I post some of my work and people comment and say, wow. And I'm like, this is my everyday. I just decided, you know what, let me put some of it out there and share my experience as a teacher. So the things my father taught me, like diligence and respect and integrity, they're still speaking for me till now. So I'm trying to make sure that I pass these same values on to my children, despite the decadence in the world. Forget it all. It's true that everybody says the world is changing, the world is this. No, some values remain core values. They have to learn it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I married someone who is very similar to me. He leaves home very early for work every day. He's not home yet. He's on his way. He actually just sent me a message. He's trying to get something in the pharmacy for me. So he's very similar to me. We grew up in similar circumstances. He also grew up in Festa. So he has that whole village upbringing, respect, regard, integrity, empathy, those things that were inculcated to us even without us knowing. Wow. So basically that's it in summary.
Yeah. And so that's going to lead us to the next question. Can you ask the next question?
Do you use at home now?
What rules do you use at home now?
Basic routines. Of course, in the morning you wake up, you greet, you say good morning to your daddy, you say good morning to Amavi. Amavi is our nanny. Even if you're not greeting me, good morning Jesus, good morning Amavi. We pray, we follow strict routines. So we get to school, you have your breakfast, they eat in school. After breakfast, I tell them how much I love them, I affirm them, and I make them repeat those affirmations like I am beautiful, I am smart, I am loved, I am a queen, because my 2 children are named after queens, actually, Queen Esther and Queen Elizabeth. And then they go to school. I tell my older daughter to listen more and speak less. Be slow to speak, quick to listen. Because yes. Okay, so we have so many similarities.
Just hit the nail on the head.
She's very vocal. It's good, but there's a time to keep quiet. There's a time to listen, and we're still trying to find that balance. And she will be 8 very soon, so I'm afraid you can't learn if you don't listen. If you're talking all the time, you can't learn. That's what I keep telling her. When your teachers, especially when your teachers are talking, you keep quiet. You don't know more than them right now. Just listen first, then express your opinion later. So then we come home, but before we come home, in the afternoon they come to my class, or sometimes I go and pick them. They do their homework in my class, because Lagos is peculiar. A journey of 15 minutes can turn into a journey of 2 hours for no apparent reason. So yes, that's Lagos. And usually, though, my journey home takes me about less than somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes, usually on a normal day. But because I know Lagos is a peculiar place, I like for them to finish their homework at school so that when we get home, we can then relax. Then you can ride your bicycle. You can decide to watch no, they don't watch cartoons on weekdays. Like right now, the TV is off. You can see that the TV is off. We have a program that we watch in the evening together as a family. But they can ride their bicycle, they can play with toys, they can color worksheets, just have things to keep them relaxed. Then we have dinner, we pray again, and we go to bed. When they are leaving my class, greet everybody you see, because even in my school, my school is a rather big private school. Come, baby. Children will greet teachers, but they will not greet the janitors, they will not greet the stewards. So I tell my children, everybody you see, because everybody deserves your greeting. Be it janitor, be it whoever, the person mopping the floor. Make sure you say, "Good morning, Mr. Obinna." Right? I insist that they speak right, they pronounce words properly. I insist that they write properly. Someone was commending my younger daughter for her handwriting. I said yes, because I insist on it. If you're going to do anything, do it and do it very well. I discourage wastage of food. I don't like wastage of food. I talk to them a lot about people who don't have any food to eat at all. And you throwing food away is like telling God you do not appreciate what he has done in your life. Okay, so I frown seriously on lying. My children no. Also because there's something in the family line that sort of disposes to lying. I won't say what side of the family, but there's something there. And because I recognized it early on in my marriage, I knew it was something I had to work hard on. Thankfully, the nanny we live with doesn't tell lies a lot. She's not perfect though. She has lied plenty times, but she's not someone who will see blue and call it black for any reason. So when they tell lies and I find out they tell lies,
one of the things I told them is, if you lie, there's no way you won't steal. It's graduation. And if
we start little by little, I got away with the lie, so let me take something that doesn't belong to me.
And if you steal, there's no way you not be greedy and covetous. And if you're greedy and covetous, there's no way you won't seek to kill to get what belongs to somebody else, because it's graduation. Like I told you, the monster starts as a seed and then grows up to be a real monster. But if you don't stop
a massive thing,
if you don't stop it, you end up craving until you end up in hell. Anyway, so thank you so much for that.
What inspires you to keep going?
What inspires you to keep going?
Okay, what inspires me to keep going is a deep sense of gratitude for my life. Right? Every day I wake up, I cannot pay. When you see people who pay money to get oxygen to breathe, and then you see yourself, you're sitting down, it's going in, it's coming out, everything is functioning well. So there's something that someone taught me, said one way we can say thank you to God is to go out there and give our best, to do our work well, especially our work. Do something to make someone smile every day. So what inspires me to go on every day is a gratitude. Many people younger than I am, my age, have suffered debilitating illnesses and eventually still die after spending so much money. So every day I'm alive is an opportunity to say, you know what, Lord, I'm grateful. I'll go out there and I'll give my best, so that when I come home in the evening, I can lie down and say, you know what, today was good, thank you. And then I sleep, and then I wake up. Who woke me up? Is it the alarm? No, I have an alarm, but it's not the alarm that wakes me up. No, so I've had many close shaves.
A lot of people die just by sleeping and never wake up. So it's not really by by yourself.
Exactly. So that gratitude for life is what inspires me to keep going. Yes.
One of the things that affects this new generation don't understand is gratitude. We live in a generation where everybody everybody feels they're entitled to have it. They're entitled to be in that school. They're entitled to have a TV in their room. They're entitled to, play games and have Nintendo Switch because I am entitled, And so it doesn't give them that kind of gratitude they're speaking about. Because if you have a sense of gratitude, like Auntie Isioma said, you would live a more fulfilled life. And that's why I'm trying to correct you. Stop grumbling. I'm really grateful that you talked about gratitude as a thing that inspires you. And I hope that the kids that are listening understand the importance of being grateful. You wake up in the morning, be grateful. Even if you have just a slice of toast, be grateful. Don't complain. You didn't have sardine, you didn't have tuna, you didn't have what's that one? Bacon, you didn't have sausages, you didn't have baked beans with it. For goodness sake, be grateful. Kids, be grateful. It's so important. When you're grateful, it gladdens your parents' heart.
Yes,
it gladdens people around you. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to have anything to do with somebody that keeps learning and keep learning. And Isioma's inspiration is gratitude, and I hope you take that to you. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for inspiring us. So, based on that inspiration and based on the things you have said, I think I can suggest what the next answer to the next question is. But I will ask anyway. So, Auntie Isioma, tell us about your hero.
My hero?
Yeah.
Who is my hero? I have many heroes. My hero, my hero, my hero, my hero.
Based on what you're saying, I was thinking that it's your dad you first of all say your hero,
My dad, my dad. Yes, my dad. Because maybe because he's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
My dad sacrificed a lot. When my mom left, he was young, she was young. They were just starting their lives. Yes, they had a lot of children, but they were just starting their lives. And people told him, share them to her sisters. Give them, just share all of them one by one. Give this one to this auntie, give this one to that auntie. Only your mother will understand what would have happened to us if that had happened.
In fact,
they turn you into a slave. Never have the kind of opportunities you have today. My father didn't remarry for 24 years.
Wow.
He only remarried for companionship, and he married when my younger ones had graduated from university finally.
Wow.
So he saw us through to the end of proper education. Okay, yes, now we've had masters and done things after our basic university education, but he sacrificed for us. He always put us first, always. I remember one night I was ill. I was really having a very bad fever. So I remember I was about 7. He stayed up all night fanning me and sponging my body, my father. So when he left us, it was hard on me, very, very hard, because I didn't know my mom. He was all I had. And so anyway, yes, my father is my hero. My husband is my hero because my husband not only stepped into his shoes, my husband is amazing. His work ethic, his generosity, his protectiveness, he's putting us first all the time. Is really, really an inspiration for me. He just sent me a message now because he was in the pharmacy trying to get something I asked him to get. I remembered something and said he should get it. Now he's trying to go back. He had left the pharmacy, he's trying to go back to get it. Because for him, it's like, no, my girls, my wife, my children must have the best. So he has such great faith, and then he's an amazing person, very kind, very loving, and also very funny.
The interesting thing I got from you saying about your heroes, that the men in your life have been like a pillar that have been steady. Because
even my brothers are amazing.
Most times you see that girls technically always say that their mothers are their hero. It's just one or two, few occasions, because it's boys that always see their dad as heroes towards the end. When they are younger, their mother is everything, but when they are older, it becomes their dad. And the women technically switch back to their mom when they become older. And so to see that is very, very, endearing.
I think I'm the hero of my daughters right now, because to them, it's like their mommy is their sky, their moon, and their everything.
Exactly. And so that's very important. And it's very important to have a parent that has your attention. You don't understand what it is to have a parent that doesn't care for you. You don't understand what what it is to have a parent that is, it might just be alive, but doesn't really understand what it means to take care of child. And so I hope kids at home that don't have this opportunity, like Auntie Isioma had, to have a very heroic dad and heroic husband. I hope you don't get discouraged, because there is one adult there in your youth club. It could be somebody in your community. It could be somebody you look up to. But be very careful, because they are very weird adults outside. So I wouldn't want you to jump on any adult. I want you to always look out for people, see the qualifications and see the criteria she mentioned about Auntie Isioma's dad: integrity, dependable, loyalty, thinking about others first. Look for an adult that companionship. Look for an adult that has those kind of criteria before you jump and raise your hands, and don't fall into the hands of anybody.
Yes.
And so thank you so much for telling us about your hero. Just the last question. What advice do you have?
One advice: listen to your parents. That's it. Just listen to your parents, especially if God has blessed you with good parents. Listen to them. They know what they are doing. Right now, you may not appreciate what they are doing, what they are saying, but by the time you get to university, by the time you become a young adult on your own, especially when you become a mom, trust me, you value your mom. I had postpartum depression when I had my first child because I didn't have my mom, and a lot of everything that was happening to me was very new. I didn't have anyone in particular to guide me. Pray that your mom is around. She will be around when you are having your babies, when you become a wife. Then you'll be chasing her. Like right now, it's like, oh, mommy is stressing me, mommy leave me, mommy this, mommy. We chase her. So the one advice that we give you now: listen to your parents. Listen to your parents.
And for those that don't have parents, kids, I will always remind you: listen to that youth worker, listen to that church leader,
that adult, that father figure, that mother figure in your life,
that imam.
Hold on to them.
Listen to the one advice of every good adult around you, because imam is a Muslim leader that teaches them, like Dr. Bari Yaya is an imam. So listen to them. They will speak wisdom. She's asking what an imam is.
He's like a Muslim leader.
So listen to your Buddhist leader if you're a Buddhist. And if you're an atheist, listen to any leader that has the principle, the right principle to raise you up.
And for anything else, listen to your leader.
Anyway, so thank you so much, because that just sums up everything. Listen to your teachers, listen to your leaders, listen to your good teachers, because there are some teachers that are giving weird advice. Thank you so much. And girls, this is where we round up, and this is where I ask the girls: tell Auntie Isioma the things that you learned.
Listen to your leaders.
Listen to your parents, your leaders.
Listen to your leaders. Remember that you've been blessed.
Remember that you've been blessed. Be gratitude. Be early to everything. You go no late, come punctual. What else? Integrity. Dependable. What else? Loyalty.
No, I wanted to say something.
What?
Be sharing.
Be sharing. Learn to share your knowledge. Be careful. Empathy. Talked about empathy.
Fantastic.
And then also learn to play. Learn to play when you're not supposed to.
Have fun.
Do your work when you need to work, and do your free time when you need to play. Don't make so much.
Kids, learn to concentrate. I would always emphasize, and I scream that like please concentrate. Learn to organize your time, because time waits for nobody. Okay, so we learned so much from Auntie Isioma, all the way from Nigeria today, and because we were raised up just like that, we are trying to bridge the gap between our kids and the kids we are raising up today. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to send us your comments, your feedback. We would always incorporate it. If you want to come on the show, kids at home, if you want to join us as a guest, you are welcome. And so please do.